morning, Shabbat Shalom. So this is Shabbat Hagadol. It's the great Shabbat, which is the one right before Passover. And traditionally it was when the rabbi or the leader of the community in days of old, it would be the one time a year that they gave an actual sermon. So obviously we have left that tradition. And so as my colleagues and friends in congregations, I'm sure have prepared meaningful words to offer to their folks, I wanted to say something myself since I don't have an actual congregation in front of me or live streaming or whatever. And so the Torah portion this week, I'm just looking at it here, is Tzav. It's the second reading of the book of Leviticus. And it's about to dive really deep again into the sacrifice and the sacrificial system and the priests and all that stuff. And we have moved away from that, obviously, in modern Judaism, post-biblical Judaism. And yet the concept of sacrifice and primarily how it's done has interested me. And in this week it comes really to the forefront because it's about the fire that has to be burning for these sacrifices to take place. So let's leave the animal part aside. That it says several times right here in the beginning that the sacrifice has to be on the altar all night until morning, and the fire is tukad bo. It is burning, kept going on it, on the altar. We'll come back to that. And it says that a few more times, that it shall continue to burn. There's an eish tamid, a continual fire. It should not be extinguished, and it shall go morning until night, and it should not be extinguished. It keeps saying that phrase. And commentaries offer, at least one commentary says that the tukad bo, that is, it's being burnt on it, the altar is actually, could be read tukad bo in him, in the priest. And obviously in my egalitarian sense, it's in him, in her, in people. That in order for the leader, the priest, to be able to do these sacrifices, they had to have this fire that burned within them. And I think that's really relevant to us today, especially in this time of COVID-19, where we're being tested, where the fire in us is being tested, and perhaps diminishing with each day that we are distant from one another, when our routine is upended, and where the way we're living is perhaps very draining. And so how do we find ways to keep that fire, that eish bo, within us, or say be within me, going? So we're trying to do it, staying connected, making sure that we don't completely isolate ourselves from each other. Technology has really taken off in a new way for people. And so it reminds me of several weeks ago we read another Torah portion, Truma, and this is no chiddush, as they say, nothing new that I'm saying, but there's a line there that's very famous. Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, make me a sanctuary that I will dwell among them, b'tocham. And it says that, it really grammatically should say b'tocho. Make me a sanctuary, I'll dwell in it. But it says b'tocham, among them, which is understood, the sanctuary is among the people, among us. It's not a building, it's not a place, it's inside of us. And so I think it's similar here. Because there was a ner tamid, there was a candle, there was a flame that was continually burning, which is symbolic now in the synagogues. Every sanctuary you go in a sanctuary, in a Jewish place, temple, synagogue, it is represented by an eternal flame. And that is represented here by this fire that continually burns. And so, where do we find this strength? Where do we find this internal flame? There's a teaching of the Sfat Emet of one of the commentators, Hasidic commentator, that also very famous, that says we all have a spark within us, and as long as it's fanned, it doesn't go out. But if we let it completely extinguish, we know that no fire can be reignited if it's completely extinguished, if the ember stops burning. And so let us go into this time, Passover coming, where we are challenged to leave Egypt, where we will have lots of conversations about plagues and about narrowness. Where is that flame that we have to come onto the other side for freedom, and to really muster the strength to go forward and keep each other's flames going. So may we find ways to have it keep burning, morning till night, helping each other, not letting any of our flames diminish in our families and our friends and our communities. And each of us needs help. And so sometimes we're the fanner, and sometimes we need to be fanned. And we do that together. And so I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a peaceful Shabbat Hagadol. And may we prepare for Passover in the best ways we can, and journey on this road from narrowness to expansiveness, from slavery to freedom, just as we hope very soon, sooner than later, we'll be leaving the narrowness of this COVID-19, of its death, of its destruction, of its fear, of its anxiety, to a different place, back to our routine, but knowing that perhaps, just as leaving Egypt, we had to find a new way of being, leaving this time of narrowness, of this contagion. We'll find new and better ways to live. And so blessings, and have a great day.